Facebook Live
with Denise.
It's Facebook Live with Denise. Come and join us if you please. Facebook Live with Denise. Facebook Live with Denise.
I can't harmonize that. Since my baby left me. All right.
Hey guys, hey, it's Denise Mortimer here. I have a very special guest today, the one and only Tommy Henriksen.
From Port Jefferson Station, Long Island, Compsawag High School, Warrior. Anyway, yeah.
Here we are in London together at the Savoy Hotel, and I'm going to be doing an interview with Tommy to find out his route to success, because Tommy has done what most people dream of doing.
I'm still dreaming, man. It's a daily grind. That's all I gotta say.
We all have dreams though, but you've done something that most people would never even everybody uses this term rock star. Everybody goes, you're a rock star, you're a rock star. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen? Tommy's a rock star.
I mean, all the way coming from, I just always think about everyone in the neighborhood. I really do.
Tell me about your humble beginnings, Tommy, and then what I want to do is I want to find out about where you came from and what your plans are now, where you are now, and what your plans are.
Humble beginnings. All I have to say is my mother did everything for us. I didn't even know we were poor when we were in Compsawag. I forgot who it was. Might have been like Chris Mars or somebody like that. I was in like the lunch line, and I had a free lunch card. Remember that back in the day?
Yeah, the lunch cards, yeah.
And I handed it to the lady behind, and I don't know why. I don't think it was him, but it was somebody like that. And he's like, "What are you, poor?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Those cards are for the paupers, the kids on welfare." And I remember going home, saying to my mother, going, "Are we on welfare?" And she's like, "Yeah, where the hell you been?"
Wow.
And I was like, so that's my mother for you,
But your mother raised 5 of you?
5. I still, it's like, I look at my wife right now with Finn, and 1 is hard enough.
Yeah.
5, and she did it all on her own.
Amazing.
She worked 3 jobs. All I remember is her working all the time.
Yeah, but she did an amazing job. And where was your inspiration for music? Where did that come from? Is it in your family blood?
No,
Tell me a little
it actually came from the Rondinellis. So I used to go to this roller skating rink called USA. I don't remember
totally,
that? Totally,
yes.
So I would go down there, and I was like a rink rat, they used to call them. And I remember all of the people from that, and they used to call me 2-inch. Because I was like this little rink rat, and I was trying to be on a speed skating team, and I was getting pretty good at it. And we'd do this thing, I would walk all the way from my house to Centeridge at all
Did
these,
you really?
all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, we never had a ride. My mother was never home, so it was like you walk miles, and I still think about that. It's crazy with your roller skates, and we'd go there and we'd just roller skate. And one night, Tusk was playing there, and I saw these guys walk in with the long hair, and I think Teddy was wearing like pink shoes, like those big.
Yeah.
And I was like, who the hell are these guys? And they were playing, and that's when I was like, this is really cool. And like just watching those guys do that when I was like, I think I was like 13 or 14 years old. And it was one of those experiences where I saw Bobby, and I asked them if I could help them like move their equipment.
Oh wow!
Like
okay. Yeah. So did you start as a bit of a roadie for them?
Well, he gave me his number, and then I would just go to his house after school every day. I'd show up, and he'd make me do chores. That son of a bitch, fucking the mayor, Rondinelli. He'd be like, "Hey, can you rake the backyard for me?" So I'd be cleaning his car, just to watch him rehearse. And his mother,
wax on, wax off.
Yeah, and his
Mr.
mother,
Miyagi.
Bernice, was the most amazing woman. She'd be like, "Bobby, little Tommy's here," and I would go in there and I'd watch those guys rehearse, and I would just do that. And then And then I picked up guitar because my brother George, he had a guitar, and this Sokovia guitar that everyone was starting to practice in the neighborhood, and. There was this one guy named Jim Kleinklaus, the teacher in Port Jeff. He taught everyone. So, and my mother was like, I have enough money to get you a couple lessons. And I think back then it was like $6 for a half hour, and a guy would drive to your house. So he showed me a bunch of stuff, and then that's how I started playing guitar when I was 14.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I met Mike Wolf and David I think his name
Galindez, yeah.
All the people, Terry Hand, everyone in the neighborhood was like, Ronnie Luda's the other little Ronnie, Louis Marciano, you know what I mean? So DeMonte, like,
And that section, like
It's-
that area, like Champlain Street was like the coolest street.
It really was.
The coolest street. But you know what?
Yeah.
There was something about the Henriksen family that made that street cool. There was something
I don't
about
know.
you guys. You're like the coolest guys to know, honestly.
Well, my brother Eugene back in the day used to look like Roger Taylor, you know what I mean, with the drums, and we'd sit in the backyard and play, and everyone would just show up in the back of our house, and we would just like play. My neighbor next door, I'll never forget it, Mr. Leia, that guy would look at us, and he would, seriously, this guy was a grown man, he'd look at me and go like this. And I'd be like, what the hell did I do to this guy? We'd play football on the street. You know, you had Michael Coppola across the street. You had the Cowers and the Thomases up there. Cordy.
Kabelkas.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Tar Baby. I'm trying to think who else. And then you had Bridget, the Robs. You had Tishlers. You had the Terzes. You had... I just think it's just funny how all of these people, I just remember all, and Wachklevich, that was it, Patty Wachklevich used to be over there, and her brother Richie and all those people too, yeah.
So tell
and,
me.
Wait, and Dan Boys, Don Dan Boy, yeah, the guy who's my neighbor next door for years, yeah, so I don't know how he put up with us, but he was always
that
really
music.
cool, Don, yeah.
All right, so tell me something. So what was the first band that you, I probably saw your first band, but tell me about your first band.
I think the first...
No Deal or Rough Cut.
I think it was Dreamer, actually.
Dreamer?
I think it was called Dreamer. Or whatever it was. I remember we were playing in Jenkins' backyard. I think they had a party.
Yeah.
And it was Jeff DeMonte on bass. I was playing guitar. Hanson was on vocals, and my brother Gene was playing drums. And we were doing like the Rolling Stones and all that stuff. This is what I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone who knows their story. But DeMonte, Jeff, he went out and he was like, getting stoned somewhere and like hanging out with a chick, I think, or something like that. And we had to play again, and no one could find him. So this guy Mike Wolf was there, and they said, my brother's like, Wolf's gonna play guitar, you're gonna play bass because we can't find, Jeff.
Yeah.
So I played bass and Wolf played guitar, and Wolf just happened to be amazing at like 16,
Wow.
And then they said, you're gonna play bass and Wolf's gonna play guitar, and that's, I think, how it happened.
And that's how the band.
Yeah,
emerged.
and that's how, and then we did that. We did No Deal, and then No Deal, Dreamer. I'm trying to think so many things.
Rough Cut. But I just want to come in and say, from my perspective, we were teenagers, and I was going to parties, and like these guys were putting together a band. That is so cool. That's so cool. People were putting, like, you guys were actually making music, like doing something that was kind of like reserved for grown-ups at this very tender age. So I'm just going to check any comments here, Tommy, and see.
I just saw Ray, football. Yeah, the Tigers. We used to play football against Ray McMorris and all them. And the Tigers, man, that's just funny when I think about that, man. I look at some of those pictures and I go, we were just a bunch of dirtbags. Like, it's like I look at like a lot of pictures and all this stuff and I go, holy shit, that's like, I don't know how many lives I've lived, but I've lived a lot of them, but.
We got some friends from yesteryear here as well. We got Barry Cohen.
Yep.
Hi, Barry. And Sherry Chedikowski. Remember Chedikowski?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Kayleen Fryer, how are you? I played with her dad in this band called Heaven a long time ago. I've done so many things.
Yes, you have. And tell me something now. So I know you've had quite a colorful career. Now,
the Broncos, that's right. He was on the Broncos. He was good, Ray, too. His dad was really good, too. Because me and my brother, all I remember, we'd have to get a ride to football practice. We never had a ride home because my mother was always working. So we'd be sitting there stranded, and people were like, you guys need a ride home? Our uniforms were always dirty because we never washed them. And anyway.
Oh, my God. So this is your football. This is the football that you're playing.
That's the Terryville Tigers.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting memories. Good memories. When did you leave Port Jeff?
I left Port Jeff, I think it was like 1989, 88.
Still in the 80s. So finished high school.
Finished high school. I went to college. The only reason why I went to college was because Bruce Robinson and Roggio and those guys were going, we're going to college. And I went home and I went, Mom, what's college? She's like, you want to go to college? And I got to go to college for free because we were poor. So, and I went to this place called Five Towns, and I was only there for it was like a year or two, and somewhere like that. And I just couldn't, because we were playing a lot. So I'd be getting in at like 5 in the morning. I'd have to go all the way to Seaford. And this guy, Joe Carbone, who was the teacher there, he was really a great teacher. He was one of those guys, like he'd stop you at home. He'd be like, hairball. Because, you know, that's when I had
the
long...
hair.
Yeah, that's when I had the long curly hair, which, I was cursed with, but at least I still have it.
No.
Anyway.
Everybody loved that hair. The Tommy Henriksen trademark.
I look at pictures. I could show you pictures on my phone that I forgot. Like, someone sent me something. I was like, oh, my God, I look like I don't know, like I was in the Jackson family. I don't even look white. I look like, I don't know.
No, everybody loved those. So, from my perspective, all the girls loved Tommy because his crazy curls, long curly hair, total rock star look.
Yeah. I hated that hairdo anyway. That's why I keep it straight right now. I take an iron to it that you have to like heat cheese on at 400 degrees. And I got my new skipper hat, as Mr. Finn said. He says to me the other day, Daddy, what costume are you wearing now? And I go, why? What's wrong with it? He goes, you look like a skipper of a boat. And I go, yeah, I'm the skipper of the tugboat and you're the first mate. And
I love Mr. Finn. Mr. Finn has his own Facebook page.
I made that for him. My wife was like, I was like, come on, man. He'll look back at it, you know what I mean? And I think it'll be really cute.
Well, he just had his 5th birthday, and I saw that you did tributes from everyone in the band. Yeah, and, like, that's epic. What 5-year-old gets these tributes like this? I think that was just such an amazing, beautiful thing to do.
He's, the cool thing about him, like, from where I grew up and him growing up, my wife is just amazing. She's, like, the best mom. And I told him, I was like, hang on a second. I'm back.
Anyway, we're going to carry on with this interview.
Denise.
All right, talk to me about the rest of this tour. We'll come back to this. My sister Lisa has joined us as well.
Okay.
Hi, Lisa.
What's up, Lisa? Anyway, no, Finn's amazing, and my wife's amazing.
And I love seeing you interacting with the family. I can see that you are a tremendous family man and you are completely devoted. I love that about you. That is not what we expect from rock and roll, and you are just you are so unique in the field because you are so devoted to your family and committed to your art as well. So I know we could spend hours going through your whole career because you've had a very illustrious career. You started working with Alice Cooper when?
That's fun. I was a roadie for Alice Cooper.
Okay.
Ralph Ferrari and Kenny Barr. They knew I had no money. I was living in L.A. I just think about a lot of people, man. You know, like Don Roman. All the Romanos helped me out a lot too.
Yeah.
They were amazing. His mom and dad. It's just there's so many people.
Wow.
But I was in L.A. I had no money. And me and Louis were living in this like shitty apartment on Marciano from Port Jeff, and we were living in this crappy apartment on 1420 North Sierra Bonita. I never forget this stuff, and it looked like you changed oil. Like it looked like a Jiffy Lube, the place, because the carpet was just disgusting.
Yeah.
And we had a milk crate with a TV, and we would just play PlayStation at night, looking at each other, going, "Dude, what a bunch of fucking losers we are. What are we gonna do?" And I was like, I don't know, Lou. You know, who knows what's going to happen? But we were always working, me and Louis, you know. And
so what kind of year was this?
This is in, this has got to be 90, maybe 93.
Okay, right.
93, somewhere around there. And we were just, trying to find ourselves and stuff like that. And, what was the question again?
It was about how did you start with Alice Cooper? So you were a roadie.
All right. So there's so many other things to get there, but the whole POL thing and all these other guys that helped me out and stuff like that. Because you can't. Like a lot of people like to just take credit and forget everyone that helped me. I haven't forgot anyone that's helped me. You know what I mean? And the thing is, like, people think you're famous and you're rich, and it's a daily struggle every day. You know what I mean? But the thing that I appreciate most is that I could still do what I love to do. You know what I mean? Like, I could live in a 1-bedroom apartment as long as I'm playing rock and roll and the rent's paid. I'm fine. You know what I mean? I don't need houses. And
Yeah.
I don't care. I've never cared about that. But how I got with Alice was those guys knew I had no money, and this is in '96, I think, '97, around there. And they called me up to go, hey man, we'll get you $100 a day or $50 a day to drive around Alice Cooper and
carry on. Sorry about that.
And be a roadie. So I was like, okay. So I went over there and I did that for about 2 weeks, and then I got fired. So and then right after that, I was doing all these demos as that time was going on, like '96 to '97. I was doing demos. I was waiting to get evicted from the apartment because Lewis moved back to New York. He's like, I'm going back to New York, and I was like, what am I gonna do? So I'm sitting there, I'm just writing songs. And Joey Sykes at the time, I remember he was in the band Coward. I went down to see him in his studio where he was making a record. And then I played him my demos, and he's like, oh, dude, this stuff sounds really cool. You sound like Peter Gabriel and Richard Butler. And I was like, wow, that's cool. Maybe I should explore that more. And then I did. And then as I was being evicted, because I just let the rent run out as long as I could. Oh, my
God.
The sheriffs were coming. And Jeff Pilson, who's another guy who saved my life, called me up. And he was like, I'm going on tour with Dokken. You want to, because I was in a band with Jeff too, in War and Peace, and he said, you want to come and watch my house for 6 months? And I was like, thanks, Mom. And I was like, of course, Jeff.
Wow, you're being evicted and you get this opportunity. Yep. Amazing.
And then I go watch his house, and I'm making these demos. I still continue working, and Jeff comes off tour, and he looks at me. He goes, play me what you got. And I had it all set up in his living room, and he just looked at me and went, you're going to get a record deal from this. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, this is really, really good. And he really believed in me. And it's unbelievable. And then another guy named John Zagata, this guy Steve Patch, Keith Forsey. There's so many things and names,
people,
you know what I mean? That have helped you along the way.
Tremendous.
You know? There's always a story. There's, like...
How did you end up in the band then? So
with Alice Cooper, I roadie for him. Then after I get this huge record deal. You're going to be the next international huge pop star. You're the next Peter Gabriel, Bruce Springsteen. That's what I heard from the president of the label in '98. I get this record deal. My life changes. I go from owing Wells Fargo $11 to like over $1 million in the bank. And I'm like, what the fuck? You know, and you don't, when you come from no money, you don't. You don't know any of this stuff because no one teaches you this coming from Long Island. And so little as I know is you got to pay like $500,000 in taxes. Nobody tells you this stuff because you don't know. So I'm like, oh, wow, okay. And then the president gets fired before your record even comes out. And then all of a sudden you go, oh, wow, that was fast. Same thing that happened with POL where we had this deal. It went under. The label went under. So I get signed by the president of Capitol. I'm thinking this is great. I got my buddy Darren Scarata, Keith, taking photos, you know what I mean? He's like this huge photographer at the time. I'm like, let me hook up my buddies, and it's just funny it's just so many people like Otto Brunette, Jim Cooper, Bob Tees was another huge. I'm trying, if I forget your name, just please, I've been up. You have no idea.
He didn't get to sleep till 4, and it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon now.
And I get up. I'm a rooster, dude. As soon as the fucking sun's up, I'm like, and sorry for cursing, but I can't help it. So, but Bob Tees, John Trailer, Rogio, Michelli. I can't. There's just so many people,
Amazing. I'm gonna have to tag everyone that I know that you've listed because there's obviously those people that I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. So
sorry. So
tell me about. I'm sorry.
I get this record deal, goes under. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna write songs. So I just started writing songs and producing records, and next thing I know, I got like 12 bands of a record deal within a year. And Jimmy Iovine calls me up. He's like, hey, I want you to come over to my office. I want to talk to you. So he offers me my own label. So I get this deal and
amazing
and stuff like that. Of course, me being from New York, Long Island, not knowing how things really work.
You got
trying to fight the power.
You got a bit of a raw deal.
No, I actually had a great opportunity, but I you make mistakes. I kind of blew it, but because I just said to him, I was like, He said, what would you change around here? I said, everything, you know? It's just, when you go in a record company, there's just so many people that are just there doing nothing. All they want to do is get paid. They think they know what the hell they're talking about. They don't know anything about music. You know, they don't know what it's like to write a song, but everybody knows everything. And you just sit there and you look at these people that are getting paid millions of dollars and they're fucking idiots. You know, and I'm sitting there going, really? This jerk off over here? You know, he's like double charging, back charging, and it's all about money. And I have a problem with that because I've never done this for money. You know,
I got to say as well. I remember we caught up at my sister's house. We had a bit of a reunion. It might have been like 15, 20 years. It was quite a while ago.
Yeah.
And I remember somebody had left your life and said to you, like, it was about, like, when are you going to make it? And you were like, well, I've made it. I do what I love every day. And this is such a key message. Tommy does what he does every day, regardless of whether he gets paid to do it. And that's where the money comes from. It's like, it's do the thing that you love and the money will follow that. So many people are chasing the money first and thinking that's the way around. But you've always been about, you know, even from school days, just completely devoted. When did you do, because one of your songs was featured, I See the Sun in Your Eyes was featured in that Brendan Fraser's.
What was that called again, that movie?
I can't think. It was like a time.
Blast from the Past?
Blast from the Past.
Blast from the Past,
I see the sun in your eyes. That's
funny.
Terrible rendition.
You know, but when I wrote that song, I was sitting on Jeff Pilson's couch. I'll never forget it. And, you know, I mean, it's really funny when you do stuff like this. It's like, you know, because every great song has been written, so no matter what you do, it's derivative or whatever.
Yes,
and sometimes it just happens where you go, oh, wow. So when you just play like G, E minor, wait. That's it. So it's like G, C, E minor, D. So I was just sitting there going. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I went. And then my other, you're right. I can't even fucking sing right now. Anyway, but something like that. So when you hear these stuff, it's like, you know, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel or anything like that. I'm just doing what I love to do. And sometimes all of a sudden that song changed my life. I was sitting there like, just doodling, you know. And Pilson heard that and he's like, dude, that's a hit song. And I was like, I don't know what a hit song is.
Yeah.
You know, so. And
so that's amazing to hear that you like to have you saying that it's just a derivative, because even in my industry, like I do coaching, I do business coaching stuff, and everything that people create is just a derivative of someone else's stuff. So I totally get that. It's in your industry, it's in my industry as well. Okay, so I See the Sun in Your Eyes was a game changer for you.
Yeah, it changed everything in my life. It made me a millionaire, you know, without even selling the record. Which was crazy, because all of a sudden you have all these people calling you, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you that. And you're like, whoa, you know. And I had a manager tell me at one time, who I fired, because he said to me, you know what your problem is, Tommy? You don't love money. And I looked at him, I was like, you know what your problem is? You love money. I was like, that's the difference between you and me, pal. And I can't work with people like that. I can't. It's like, it's just that whole money thing. I just want to, like, it's just, you know, and it drives me nuts. It really does, because it's like at the end of the day, it's like money does not make you happy. It makes things easier in your life.
Totally, yes.
If you're a miserable prick and you got a ton of money, I don't want to be around that. You know what I mean?
Do you know what this is? It's money amplifies you. If you're an
it does.
If you're an asshole before you have money, you'll be an asshole
she's totally
afterwards.
Right about that.
If you are an asshole after you have money, you'll be.
That's why I got no money. I gave it all away. I didn't care. And you know what? I'll do it all again. You know, it's like, because I always like, you know, my whole thing is like, I just like love helping people. I love giving stuff to people. I love giving gifts. I love like helping people. I've done so many records, like when no one has money on budgets. It's like, dude, I work with anyone.
Amazing.
You know.
And you know, I think turning up today to meet Tommy and do this interview, he's showing me like some of the gifts that people, and I think because you give so much, people have given Tommy some amazing gifts as well, and this tremendous artist.
Oh, yeah. Melanie Watts.
Melanie Watts.
Great.
Just incredible. Yeah. The drawings and sketching she's done for Tommy, just beautiful, and framed and packaged and ready to be shipped home. Okay, so let's talk. I've got some of my friends on here as well.
Cool.
Some of my people who won't know you, but will know you as my friend. So Rachel saying, worked at the Chambermaid at the Savoy, did a tap dance with Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr. Excellent. And Veronica saying hi. Hi, guys. Okay, so I'm going to continue with this interview with Tommy. So you've been with Alice now for how many years playing
I've been
the
working
band?
with him like 10, because I worked with him before I was in the band.
Right.
I moved to Nashville in 2007, because I was married before. And just after that didn't work out anymore. I just moved to Nashville, and I was like, let's start over. And that was in 2009, somewhere around 2008. And I just had like, everything was gone because you get divorced and it's just all gone.
Yeah.
And I just took a truck and my equipment and my engineer, Corky. And I just said to him, I go, let's go to Nashville. So we just drive to Nashville in a U-Haul truck. That's this crazy guy I am. I didn't play anything else. Let's just go.
I love it.
And I was like, let's just find a place to live and start working. And that's what we did. We did that for like about 3 months, and then I met this guy named Bob Ezrin, who's this famous, legendary producer.
I met Bob. Yeah. I want to tell you my Bob story.
So, and Bob, he wanted to sign this band. I was working with Runner at the time. And another good friend of mine, Jack Ponty, wound up working with me, signing him. And if you get a chance, Jack Ponty.
Jack Pine?
Jack Ponty.
Ponty.
P-O-N-T-I. Ponty.
Ponty. Jack Ponty.
Jack Ponty. He's a guy I have so much respect for. But Bob called me up, and he wanted to do something with the band, and it didn't work out. And then he said to me, I got a project for you to work on. And the first project I got to work on was this song. I'm listening to it and I'm going, wow, it sounds like Lou Reed, but it's Peter Gabriel's song. And I call him up, I go, is this like Salisbury Hill with Lou Reed singing on it? He's like, yeah. And I was like, you want me to work on this? So that was the first project that I worked on.
Amazing. That's cool.
And listening to Lou Reed going, I hate everything he did.
About what you did.
But Bob at the time we were in the car, and Bob's like, Lou's like this. So he goes, don't say anything. So I'm sitting there, he goes, and who's this Tommy Henriksen guy? I hate it all. And then Bob hangs up, Bob goes, he'll love it in like another day or two. He's kind of cranky, Lou. And next thing you know, he did love, wound up that he did love it. So
excellent, cool. Excellent, yeah. Fantastic. So you've done a lot of producing music as well.
Antonia. There's another girl who's in a band. Amazing. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. And my friend Kelly has joined us, and Linda Blasco has joined us from Port Jeff Station. Well, she's not in Port Jeff Station now, but joining us from Port Jeff Station. So you've done a lot of producing. You've been behind the scenes a lot, doing things that maybe you weren't expecting to do. Did you always want to perform, and then you ended up doing, or? You
know how it is, Denise. You start out, you want to be the guy. I want to be a rock star.
Lead singer.
Yeah, I do. I want to be. Well, no, I just want to be in a band. That's cool. And it's unfortunate that we never had like a Steven Tyler or Mick Jagger in our neighborhood.
Champlain Street didn't.
We didn't have one of those. We had Terry Hansen. Who get well, Terry? I just saw that.
Well, yes.
And I just heard my brother George broke his back. My brother David told me that. Yeah, I got to call him up and find out. So George, whoever the hell you are, I got to call him up. But say it again. What was it?
So it was about doing a lot of producing, like behind the scenes.
So what happened was, so I did this thing. I was in a punk band. I was in a band with C.C. DeVille. I was in a band with Jeff Pilson. I was in this band Warlock, this metal band, and that was the first one when I got the Warlock gig.
I met you you came to my sister's around Warlock.
Yeah.
I think you were in there.
So I was in that, and at the time, my girlfriend Angela, and it was really funny. Like I got this call to go down there, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. And my mother was like, go see the world. You don't want to wind up around here in this neighborhood. Go do that. And Angela at the time was like, yeah, you should go do it. And I did that, and they would pay me $225 a week. And the other thing is, I had no idea what per diem was. What's per diem?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You get money every day? Had no idea until a tour manager came in and also goes, so what do you get in a week? I was like, $225. And I was sending $100 home to my mother.
Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah. So I was making $125. And it was really funny. He came in and he changed all that, So you learn these things as you go along.
Yes.
But
There's no blueprint. Okay, so now you are touring with the Hollywood Vampires.
Yes.
Oh, you've got a call coming through.
That's my Jack Bauer line. Yes, got it.
Okay, so you are currently touring with the Hollywood Vampires.
Yeah.
Tell me about I know the Vampires were something that Alice started a number of years ago, and then resurrected the group again.
Yeah. What happened was it used to be like a drinking club in L.A. with him and Keith Moon and John Lennon and Harry Nilsson and who else was in there? Mickey Dolenz, a lot of those guys. But the whole thing, how I got with Alice, was Bob Ezrin. Like Bob Ezrin, I really do owe him, like, seriously, like, without Bob, a lot of this wouldn't be happening.
I had the pleasure of meeting Bob at one of your backstage, because I've seen Tommy with Alice a number of times, and I met Bob, and Bob is just the most, like, I was just having a conversation with him, like, he's just the nicest guy on the planet, and I'm like, hey, what do you do? And it's like, I'm this global, like, iconic music producer, and I have no idea who the man is, and he's just produced legendary stuff, legendary people as well.
We used to see the name on the back of all the records.
Yes.
Like Pink Floyd, Kiss, Lou Reed, Alice Cooper. Like, I'll never forget, my brother Eugene brought home Welcome to My Nightmare. And I heard Cold Ethel, and I was like, what the hell is this? But at the time, I don't remember, I'd always hang out with Richie Diaguardi and his brother Anthony.
Yes.
Yeah. And we'd listen to The Who all the time. We'd have it on the boom box. We'd walk around with these boom boxes with the cassette tape, and we would just play the shit. And then we'd go to Thomas's Field, you know what I mean? And I just think about all of the stuff where how it's just, and Teddy Ticos used to do an amazing Neil Young. There were so many talented guys in that neighborhood. It's like, and then I always say, man, I go, what the fuck, man, happened? It's like, I don't know what happens where it's just like some people just stop,
Not everybody lives into their potential. And this is what I do with my work. I help people step into their potential, because so many people don't live their potential. So many people end up buying into a system that they didn't, like someone else's prescription of what should be happening in their life. Mm-hmm. And it's when you live true to yourself that you end up doing the kind of stuff that Tommy's doing, like, performing on stage with, absolute legends, being, becoming, a legend yourself in your own field.
If you would have told me 10 years ago, all right, you're going to be in a band with Johnny Depp, you're going to be in a band with Joe Perry, you're going to be in a band with Alice Cooper, and I would have been like, really? Because you don't know what life, that's the cool thing about it, I think about life, is you don't know what's coming unless you make shit happen.
Yes.
And you got to work every day. That's why I get up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm in bed at 4 o'clock in the morning, because you know what? I don't want to sleep, because there's just too much stuff to do.
Yeah.
There is. And I want to get as much stuff as I can. At the same time, I'm trying to do all of this. I want to make sure that when Finn wakes up, I'm there to wake him up. I want to make sure I talk to him before he goes to bed. I make sure I talk to my wife, 6 times a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
every day, no matter what. Because I know, like, being a mom and being on the road and I'm away, it's tough. And I always give her so much credit, you know what I mean? Like, I really lucked out in my wife. It's like, that's one of the things that I got to say. Everything else is like, she's been the most amazing thing
you
ever.
Manifested a wonderful woman, and and I won't go into the story, but you told me the story of how you met her, and it's just a beautiful story, and you're obviously souls that were meant to sort of converge and come together. It's just an amazing story. I love how you too.
But if you see it was like, if it was on like some dating service, like it was on like Match.com, it'd never be a match. I don't know how it happened, but it's like, if you look at us on paper, you'd be like, that may never work.
Meant to be together. So I want to tell you something last night. So last night I'm watching the Hollywood Vampires, and they're playing Sweet Emotion, and I'm thinking, I'm going to just point this out as well. My friend Kelly she helps people find their soulmate.
Yeah.
So she's really connecting with the story about you and your wife. Like, you don't know how it happened, but it happened.
Yeah.
So last night, listening to Tommy playing Sweet Emotion on stage with Joe Perry, and I'm just thinking, when we were teenagers, we were listening to this stuff, and he's performing on stage with one of the founding band members of Aerosmith. Like, this is amazing stuff, incredible things that you create in your life when you are living true and on purpose. So tell me something now, Tommy. What is next for you? What do you see? How many tours? How many dates you got left in this tour?
But before I remember that question, because I'll probably forget it. But one of the most there's been a bunch of highlights in my life. You know what I mean? Of course, my son and my wife were number one, but playing with Jeff Beck on stage, that was like one of those things and Jimmy Page, where it's like like in the neighborhood, that's all we listened to. Like Mike Wolf would play Jimmy Page, like amazing guitar stuff, and Teddy Rondelli would be totally in Leslie West, and so it's like all these things that I think about and all these influences, and I loved like everything. So when I got to play with Jeff Beck, all I could think of was like everybody in the neighborhood going, wow, all of these guys are much better guitar players than I could ever be, but I'm getting to do this right now, and I don't want to fuck this up, you know what I mean? And I remember I was so prepared, and Beck, we were doing Beck's Bolero. This is a funny story. So, and I got the whole song down, and I'm like, I got this. And Paige shows up to rehearsal, and Paige is watching us, and I remember starting the song, and it goes... And then go, that's it. Like that chord right there. See this chord right here? It's just...
Yeah.
I didn't know what the hell chord that was because I couldn't really hear it. So we were playing, and Paige says to Ross Halford, who's another guy who's done so much for me, and amazing photographer, and Ross goes, Tommy, Jeff wants to have a word with you. I mean, Jimmy wants to have a word with you. And I go over to Paige and I go, what's up? And he goes, you're playing the wrong chord. I was like, I think I know which chord you're playing. That I'm playing wrong. He goes, yeah, it's some kind of I don't know the names of chords. You know what I mean? I just look at stuff and I go, oh, play that.
You hear it and you do it?
Yeah. So, and he says the name. I said, I don't know it. And then Paige is like, let me show you, Mike. He goes, because if Jeff comes in here, he's really going to be angry. So it was just this like, and I was like, that's a chord? He's like, yeah, I wrote it. And I was like, I know you, and he did write Beck's Bolero. So so that whole thing, which was one of the great, and the guys from Stone Temple Pilots, Robert DeLeo and Dean DeLeo, Dean told me to play that chord. So we're playing and Ray, the drummer, too. He's like, what did he just say to you? And I was like, Paige told me I'm playing the wrong chord. And you told me to play that chord. And they go, that's cool. So then we get to the rehearsal, and Beck shows up, and I start the song like this. I go, and his hand goes on the neck of my guitar, and he goes, don't choke the chords, mate. And I was like, and I never get nervous, but with Jeff Beck standing right in front of you, and I was like, I looked at him and I said, give me a sec. And I'm turning around going, you fucking idiot, let's go get this together. And all of a sudden I took a deep breath and I went, I got it, Jeff. And then and then he tweeted it was the best house band he ever played with, which was really cool.
Ace. Absolutely fantastic.
But like that with Jimmy Page, like Jimmy was there last night, and and Tim Burton.
He was there. Jimmy Page was there last night as well. Yeah. So Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, Tim Burton.
But I don't run into the dressing room and go, hey man, could you get a photo? I can't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As much as I'd like to, but there's everyone doing that. But with like Tim Burton, like another great story. We're in Transylvania at Dracula's castle, and we're having dinner. And we're all sitting around, and I had this great conversation with Tim Burton, and I gave him this vampire ring that my buddy Darren made, and he comes up to me last night, and I haven't seen him in like two years, and he comes up to me and he goes, thanks, and I was like, oh, you remember that, which was really cool. And then Paige came up to me, and it was the same thing. He's like, Tommy, how are you? But the best was the other night, Jeff Beck comes to the show. And he's backstage, and he does my New York accent, and he goes, Tommy fucking Henriksen! And I was like, I thought he probably wouldn't know who the hell it was, but like stuff like that is like, I don't know. It's just...
You're making a big waves. You're making a big impression.
It's like, because it's just like, it's just, you just think about it. These guys that we all grew up on, you know, and it's kind of weird for me because all of a sudden I go, holy shit, this is pretty cool.
They
When
know
Jeff
me,
Beck,
yeah.
when Jeff Beck's sending me like messages and stuff like that, I just sit back. I go, I wish I could show everybody this stuff, you know, and then just working with Johnny, you know, not to change the subject, but with Johnny, like he is so underrated. Like his lyrics are like on this record. Lyrically, he's like on like another level. You know what I mean? Like I call him Bukowski. You know, Charles Bukowski. Because I read, believe it or not, I do read a lot of poetry, like Kerouac, Bukowski, Ginsberg, Ferlinghetti, Jim Carroll, all of this. You know, even Henry Rollins, like all of this stuff. And his level of reading and writing. Like I said to him, I said my English has improved since I've been hanging out with you. You know, because he'd be saying these words, I'd be like, what's that? And so work on this record, doing this with him has been nothing but, it's been amazing because it's like no one knows how good he could sing, how good he could play guitar. Everyone just thinks he's the actor, and everyone forgets that he moved out to Los Angeles to be a musician, and then it just so happened that he.
So that was his original thing.
Yeah, so that's the Johnny Depp story, but just being around him is just, it's, you know, he's the most generous guy ever. Like, generous, so sweet, makes you feel like everyone he meets, he makes you feel like he's known you for years, you know. And he's just, and that's not an act. That's real stuff.
Yeah. Fantastic. I'm gonna look at some of the comments, Tommy.
Okay.
So, Jim Cooper, if you're still in the house.
Of course, Coop. Man, Coop is always taking photos. Coop. I got to get back to you, Coop. I saw your message, so I haven't had any time. Sorry.
And Lisa's just saying about, you know, playing albums in the living room.
Yep.
And now watching us to interviewing.
Charnel. Yep. That's one of my wife's and I's friends from Australia.
Hi, Charnel. And Lisa's just saying, love it about Jimmy Page,
Yep.
Jeff Beck story. Fantastic. Okay, so you guys have an album coming out, yes?
Yeah,
Hollywood
we do.
Vampires have an album coming out?
Yeah. We recorded 20 songs for the record. And we did the whole record in like 41 days. So, and the whole idea of the record was, when I spoke to Johnny, we were just making demos. You know what I mean? But I always I never call them demos. I always call it records because it's just like, I don't want to have to go and redo anything. So I said to him, I was like, let's make a record that's raw and not overproduced. There's no samples. There's no, you know, like processing Alice's vocals and tuning them, tuning Joe's guitars, because there's a sexiness and this when Joe plays, you know, it's just like you got to let him play. You can't stop him every go, tune. So when we were doing it, and Johnny and Joe, they got this thing where it's like this like push and pull type thing. And Glenn played the drums on it, I played the bass on it, and I just played a little guitar because I wanted to leave hardly any guitars. We'd only have like 3 guitar tracks.
Yeah.
Because I wanted it like it sounded like it was made in the garage, you know? And we just stumbled on it because we just wanted to find our sound. That was it. Johnny was like, let's just write the songs, and Joe, and we're like, let's just find the sound. You know, when we get the sound, we'll send the stuff to Alice and see what he thinks. So we were just writing, and Glenn would show up. It would be like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'd be like, Glenn, come on over, dude. You got to play drums. He'd come over. We'd be playing drums.
Oh, my God.
You know, and then David Blaine would show up in the middle of like 3:30 in the morning. There'd be a magic show at 4 o'clock in the morning.
No way.
Yeah,
no way.
It's some funny stuff when I think about this stuff, man, making this record. So you're making this record, and just people would be showing up, you know what I mean? Because Johnny's place, it's just like, there's always someone where you go, oh, okay, that's who that is, you know? So, but we were just like writing songs, and it just turned into this record, like, and it's just, when I sent it to Alice called me up and goes, why does this sound different? And I was like, because it's not gridded, which, like, most records that are made today are like locked on a grid. Like, if you don't know, like, Pro Tools is this thing. There's a bunch of other.
So it's a bit sort of more structured than.
Well, it's just like, let's fix the drums, let's put them on, like, so everything's this.
Yeah.
You know, and Glenn, he already plays like amazing like that. So I was like, let's not use any samples, because usually you go back, you put all these samples in there, And I was like, let's not use any samples. And this guy, Mike Plotnikoff, who tracked all the drums, did an amazing job. Because I said to him, I was like, play Back in Black and Highway to Hell. That's the drum sound I want. I just want the Phil Rudd drum sound. And I show up at the studio, and me and Glenn, we tracked 20 songs in 3 days. And then I had this other guy who's like the most talented guy I've ever been around. This guy named Jamie Mahobarak, who's a keyboard player, who another, like, he's on some other level, like genius, like amazing, who I love too, as a friend that I've become really good friends with. Every time I bring him something, he just takes it to another level.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'll have something, I'll be like, do your thing, man. Because the whole thing, when I'm working with people, it's like, I work with people who I know are going to bring something to the table. It's like,
yeah.
So I don't have to micromanage. So if I know I'm going to bring Glenn, it's like, do your job.
Yes, yeah.
I know when I'm going to work with Jamie Holbrook, I don't got to walk in the studio and tell him anything. I just put the track up and go, do what you want.
Yeah.
When I'm working with Johnny will be like, hey, brother, I don't like that. Let's do that over here. And most of the times, I got to tell you, that guy's right. His instincts are so good.
Yeah.
And Joe will be like, Joe takes a little more time because Joe's, he's one of those guys, he likes to think a lot about the stuff and everything. And I'm more like, I was like, let's just capture the moment, you know what I mean? Like making this record, I just want it to be a moment. we're not worried about hit songs, you know what I mean? You guys already wrote all these hit songs.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not what the Vampires is about. The Vampires is about having fun. Let's just write some fun songs and great songs, and if something happens, great. And that's our expectations are not high at all. It's like, let's just do what we want to do.
Yes, yeah.
So.
Amazing. I'm just going to go to the comments again. John Terza's in the house, saying great to see your success. Hey, John Terza.
Yep.
And the amazing Kelly is saying have to go, but she's going to watch it again. Love the stories. Great vibe. Bye, Kelly. Enjoy your time in New Mexico, Kelly.
Yeah, have fun. Safe travels.
Great. So records coming out. Fantastic stories. Thank you for sharing so much.
Yeah.
What else can we expect from you in the future, or are you just letting the future unfold as it's...
I can't. We're on tour with the Vampires till July 8th, and then I go home, which is great to go actually hang out with my wife and my son. Because when I'm home, I'm daddy daycare. You know what I mean? So
I love it. I love seeing you teach Mr. Finn. Tom Petty.
I play him everything, but he's just like, I like that guy. Play that one again, Daddy. And also I'll be like, all right, I'll play you this other one over here too. This is called Free Falling. He'll be like, I like this. And then I'll play him just Tom Petty stuff, and he'll be like,
that's cool.
He'll be like, he's drawn to him.
Yeah.
I play him everything from like the Queen, Peter Gabriel, the Ramones, the Clash, Led Zeppelin, Aerosmith, you name it, Bob Dylan. He always tells me, play that Tom Petty. I like that Tom Petty guy, Daddy. And he's got this little voice like this, which is really cute. Marianne Cotton's happy brother. So it's great for me because you know what I've been doing since he's 6 months old. I've been like playing him 12 notes on the piano.
Yeah.
And my wife, she'd be like, baby, what are you doing? I was like, listen, I think if you do this when they're young enough, he'll train his ear. Maybe he'll have perfect pitch.
Yeah.
So, and I've been doing it since he's 6 months old. So just recently, like, I don't know, like last year, I'll never forget, I was on the road, my wife calls me up, she goes, baby, you're not going to believe this. Mr. Finn's pitch is like, he's singing these songs, these show tunes, and it's like amazing. And his pitch is great. And I said,
trained him.
You think it might have had a little, and I do it whenever I get together with him, I'll always be like, all right, Mr. Finn, ready? Middle C, and then we'll go. And we go through the scales, and he sings them.
Wow.
And to me, I think that if you do that, it's got to have some kind of effect.
Yeah.
When he hears chords, and he'll be like, oh, I know what chord that is. It's an A chord.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a D chord. It's a C chord. Oh, middle C. So that's working. Anyway.
And so is he playing the piano?
No, he just does sounds. Like, I'll put it, and he'll be like, this is cool. And, but do I want him to be a musician? I don't know, man. It's a tough gig out here, But the travel. See, that's the thing. Joe Perry said to me on the plane the other night. Sounds great, yeah. Private jet, I was telling Denise all the stories. Anyway. He said to me, he goes, Tommy, you get paid to travel, and I was like, wow. He's right. That's
Yeah.
all we do is travel.
Yes.
You know, so we're on, like, we get up, we're on a plane, we're on a van, we're on a bus, we're, you know, and it's just constant travel. You know what I mean? And I mean, I've seen everywhere in the world, you know?
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool because I never thought that I would ever leave Long Island. And then when you leave Long Island and you hear yourself talk, it's like, why do we sound so stupid? You know? It's like,
nothing against Long Island.
no, but it's just like, it's, you know, because you never think, well, maybe I should have learned French in 3rd grade, you know what I mean? And listen to Mr. Eaton or Mr. Vitale, you know, when they said maybe you should learn in social studies and stuff like that. And my art teacher, Mrs. DiMartino.
I actually want to talk about her. Yeah.
Let me tell you something. She was the coolest teacher ever because she
I
played
agree.
me Dire Straits. I would go to her house and hang out with her and her husband John, and when she had a son Jarrett when he was a little kid. Like, she did a lot, like another person. You know what I mean?
She saw the talent in you. She was very cool. She stood out from the other
Yep.
teachers because she was just so cool.
She was.
And it's great because this is a conversation I was having yesterday with somebody. Like, mentors choose you. So I think she kind of mentored you a little bit to help you realize your real skill and potential. Because at school, if you're not making the grade academically, this is the same thing in the UK and the USA. We measure people on academic ability, and actually academic ability isn't the measure of someone's success. Like, I don't know how good you were at school, but I'm guessing you were
I
in a
was
straight A.
above average. I had like an 83 average,
All right,
which was
good,
good.
yeah.
Remember, I was like 2nd honor roll, and my mother said if I made the honor roll, she would like give me $50. She never did, but but I did. I graduated it was like an 82 average, which is good. If I would have studied, but I never studied because I would do it in homeroom next to like Linda Gherkin and Howie, what was his name? Howie Goldwasser. You know what I mean? You know, and I used to. It's just funny though, man.
Yeah, between Gherkin and Goldwasser,
You know,
of course.
and I'd be like, oh man, what's up, man? And because Linda Gherkin was always smart. You know what I mean? And it's just funny when you just think about this stuff, man. Like, you know, you can't forget that stuff. You know, like people think that, I haven't forgotten nothing. I forgot what I just did yesterday, but like shit that you've grown up with and done your whole life.
Totally.
You know, and I apologize for using foul language.
Don't worry, we're all grown ups here. So, so Lisa's saying, are the vampires coming to New York?
No,
not coming to New York.
We played Connecticut. Yeah.
Okay. Traveling. Claire is saying traveling and doing what you love. And I've encouraged my boys to do what they love. They're both very intelligent, and rather they focus on their passions. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think this is one of the biggest messages. Okay, Tommy, let's sum up. This has been a great interview. Thank you so much. Well,
you know, I went to high school with Denise too, and we used to go hang out at her house. Her dad would drive me home, and he'd drive the whole neighborhood home. All I remember would be, Mr. Sergio will take you home, you know what I mean? And you'd wind up at the Sergio's house.
It was a cool place to hang out. I think my dad's view, because I don't know, he just used to let us hang out at the house. I think he just thought, like, it's better for them to be sort of contained somewhere rather than hanging out at the bowling alley and smoking and drinking and doing all those things.
Yeah.
And so we had some amazing memories together, and I'm really fortunate that we're still in touch. I was so pleased. So a few years back, my sister Regina contacted me. She's like, Tommy's trying to get in touch with you. He's coming to London. And I was like, I really need to reconnect with him again. We did murals on the wall in art class. Remember?
Of course I remember that. Yes, I wonder what happened. Some of those were really good.
Yeah, they covered them up, the bastards.
Yeah. Isn't John Swenning does he do something for CompSwab?
Yeah,
like
he's on the board of governors. He's
Have you ever been to any of the high school reunions too?
I went to 2 of the high school reunions, and actually I spoke at the school just over a year ago. John was wanting to speak to you. Yeah. We need to speak about that when we finish this
you know what? I'd love to go back there. I want to just go look at the school. I want to go look at my old house too, because I haven't been there. Like when we were just in New York, I wanted to do it, but we didn't have any time because I had food poisoning. It was terrible.
Oh, man.
Twice on this tour.
And Scott Langdon is here.
The hell's he been? Holy shit.
Guys, if you have any questions, ask any questions. You can come in with any questions now. We got a little bit more time if you... Scott does some amazing landscaping stuff. I don't know if you've ever seen his photos.
No.
He does amazing work. Really, really beautiful stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Scott, put some of your links into the...
Did he have a sister too? What was her name?
Donna. There was Donna.
That's
and Scott.
right.
Yeah.
They got a crush on her too. I do. I think so. I had a crush on a bunch of chicks back then. You know what I mean?
I think everybody had a crush on. Everybody had a crush on A. Henriksen. All the girls in Port Jeff would have had a crush on A. Henriksen at some point.
Oh, that's funny.
Guys, if you got any questions, any comments, anything else you want to add here, I just want to thank my good friend Tommy and
Brenda Langdon. That's it.
Brenda
said, yep.
Okay, all right.
Or maybe he's talking about Brenda Barnett. Maybe that's her.
Brenda.
You know who I always see too is Amy Gottlieb. I always see Amy Gottlieb all the time. Whenever we're playing, she always shows up.
Yes.
And I always have fun with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's so sweet too.
Amazing. Guys, we're going to round up. So any final comments? Tommy, I want to thank you so much for
doing this.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you.
I don't know when we get to do it a lot, but anyway.
George Dixon saying, I have a crush on you, Tommy.
Thanks.
It's been awesome listening to you. Claire's one of my clients. Thank you. My sister, Brenda. Scott's saying his sister, Brenda.
Okay.
Amazing. Guys.
Later,
and Christine Geo.
Yeah, of course. Gehagen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Thank you for joining us. Ciao, guys. Oh, do you want to finish with a song? Do you want to play us out with something? Yeah.
Facebook Live
with Denise. Come and join us if you please. Facebook Live with Denise. Facebook Live with Denise. Ciao, guys.
Yeah.
Love you all. Bye.